Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Pastor Lucas with God's Word, no cap. And I want to take a look at Matthew chapter 14, beginning at verse 24. It says, the ship was now in the midst of the sea, tossed with the waves, for the wind was contrary. And in the fourth watch of the night, here comes Jesus now walking on the sea. The disciples see him, they troubled, he says, have no fears, I. And now Peter now asks if he can join Christ on the water. And Peter said, come on, and get out the ship. He's in the water. But when the water becomes boisterous, Peter gets afraid. Lord, save me. What I'm seeing is this verse is those times in life where God's people have to make a sacrifice. It's time for us to make a sacrifice. Let's start over. Start over. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is God's Word. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Pastor Lucas with God's Word, no cap. And I want to take a look at Matthew chapter 14, beginning at verse 24, on down to verse 31. And this is just talking about when the winds, the disciples were out in the midst of the sea, the winds contrary to them, the waves a little boisterous, and here comes Jesus now walking on the sea. They see Jesus, think it's a spirit. He says, no, this is me. Don't be afraid. Anyhow, Peter gets enough guts to ask, Lord, can I join you in the water? And he comes out in the water, and he's standing on water as well. And the water get a little shaky for Peter, get a little rough for Peter. And as he began to sink, he cries out, Lord, save me. And when I look at this verse, I kind of see life being this water, being a little boisterous, being a little tempestuous, and the Lord even in the midst of it. We go through a lot of trials and a lot of tribulations and not realizing that the Lord is here. But in the midst of our trials and tribulations, or in the midst of our hard times, or in the midst of just a life period, we have these times where we're going to be called to make some sacrifices. We're going to be called to make some faith calls and some faith choices. And like Peter, the Lord's going to invite us to come where he is. And he's there in the midst of the trouble. And in the midst of this trouble, we can feel well. We ought to feel well, so long as the Lord is with us. But our tendency is similar to Peter's. When it gets really tough and we don't see things going the way we expected them, in particularly when we think that or suppose that Christ is with us or that we're with him. And I think about it. If Peter had not cried out, Lord, save me, and allowed himself the water to reach this level or even eye level or even where he goes under the water, and just that ability to hold my breath, close my eyes and come up, I'm thinking about all the fun that he could have had while the winds are just going this way and that way. The winds tossing them this way and that way, the waves tossing them this way and that way. If he had just remained calm, knowing he was with Christ, how much fun he could have had in that water. And it makes me think about our life, how much more enjoyable it can be if we just maintain faith with God and not allow these troubled times, these times where it feel like we sinking and we about to drown or perish, to just lose faith, to all of a sudden lose faith. I believe we miss a lot. We miss a lot. We miss a whole lot of fun that we could have had. Just remaining calm and enjoying an adventurous life with Christ. And so my encouragement to be just know that the Lord is here and be not afraid. Troubled times gonna come, but even in those times, smile and know that the Lord is with you. This is God's Word, no cap.